Hello and welcome to this lesson with Mr. Pfan. In today's lesson, I'll be talking about key signatures. Let's start by defining it. What is a key signature? A key signature is a set of symbols that tell you which notes are sharp, flat, or natural for an entire piece of music. The key signature will always be found right after your clef and before the time signature at the beginning of any song. Sometimes you will see flats in your key signature, sometimes you will see sharps in your key signature, and sometimes you won't see either. Here's a couple examples. Example 1. Whenever you see one flat, the flat sign will be on the third line in treble clef and on the second line from the bottom in bass clef. This means that all of the B's are going to be flat for the entire song because the flat sign is placed on the B line on each staff. This key is called F major because an F major scale has one of every letter in the musical alphabet, and it also has a B flat. So since there is one flat in the key signature, you line that up with the major scale, which is F major. Here's a second example with sharp signs. Here there are two sharp signs, and the sharp signs land on the F line and the C space. Also in bass clef down here, the F line and the C space. So this means that for this song, all of the Fs and all of the Cs will be F sharps and C sharps instead of naturals for the entire song. This specific key is called the key of D major because the D major scale has two sharps in it, F sharp and C sharp. There's a specific order of the flats and order of the sharps. Here we see the order of the flats. So if you ever see flat signs in your key signature, they will always go in this order: B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. So that means if there are three flats in your key signature, it will always be B, E, and A first. There will never be a different order of the flats. There are a couple ways that I use to remember the order of the flats. The first four letters spells the word bead, B-E-A-D, bead, go catch fish, or you can use bead, greatest common factor, as mnemonic devices to remember that order. Just like the order of the flats, there's also a specific order of the sharp signs, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And here you'll see that the sharp signs the lines are going directly through the center of the sharp sign. So if it's on a line, F sharp, right here through the center. If it's on a space, C sharp, right through the center of the sign. So a way I remember this one is fat cats go down alleys eating bananas. That's the order of the sharps. Now, there is something very cool about the order of the flats and order of the sharps. Can you guess what it is? Look at them compared to each other. You may or may not have guessed it, but they are the same, but in the reverse order. B, E, A, D, G, C, F in reverse, right here, B, E, A, D, G, C, F. So the order of the sharps is reversed from the order of the flats. So if you can remember one of them, you can figure out the other one just by saying the phrase backwards or writing it down backwards. Let's talk about this chart now. This is called the circle of fourths and fifths. This is a very popular tool that is used in music to help you learn scales and to help you learn about key signatures, and there are many different versions of the circle of fourths. This is one that I've created for the use for middle school band. As you can see on the circle of fourths and fifths, we have a letter or a note name on the outside of the circle. So if we start here in the key of C, that means that a C major scale has 0 sharps or flats in it because there's a 0 here. So if I wanted to play a C major scale, I would play C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C with no sharps or flats. If I go over into the left or to counterclockwise in this direction, it's called the circle of fourths. The reason it's called the circle of fourths is because every time you're skipping to the next note, you're going up to the fourth note of the previous scale. So if I start on a C scale, C, D, E, F is the fourth note of that scale. If I start on an F scale, F, G, A, B flat is the fourth note of an F major scale. If you're talking about F major, you see that it's lined up with one flat sign, and in the inside circle it tells you which notes are flat on this side. So F major scale has one flat in it, and B is the note that is flat. I'll do one more example on the flat side. B flat major has two flats in it, and the two notes that are flat are B and E. And if we go on the other direction of the circle, clockwise, we're going around what's called the circle of fifths. The circle of fifths works the same way, but you're going up 5 notes from the previous scale. So again, if I start on C, C, D, E, F, G is the fifth note. In the G major scale, G, A, B, C, D is the fifth note, and it continues all the way around the circle. On the fifth side is where you'll find sharp scales. So if I look right here on the G major scale, a G major scale has one of every letter in the musical alphabet, but the F is going to be sharp. There's one sharp in it, and F is the note that's sharp. For D major, there are two sharps, and the two sharps are F sharp and C sharp. Down here, you can see the order of the flats and the order of the sharps to also help you learn about this. And you can use this whenever you're practicing scales to try to start to memorize your scales. So this is just a bigger version of it if you'd like to pause the screen right now and practice along with it. This is another version of the circle of fourths and fifths over here on the right-hand side, and as you can see, it's in the exact same order, but it's just written a little differently. This shows you the actual key signatures as they are written in a treble clef staff. So you will see one flat, that's the key of F major, two flats, B flat major, and so forth. Now, you will also see that there are some letters on the inside of this circle, and those lowercase letters are to indicate the minor scales that go along with each one of these key signatures. So they are called relatives, and there'll be another video later on talking about relative, major, and minor, but if you know this already, the C major scale has 0 sharps or flats, and it's relative to the A minor scale, which also has 0 sharps or flats. So you can use this circle as well to work on minor scales. Now, let's talk about how to name some of the flat keys when you see them. There are some tricks that you can use to figure out what the name of the key is. And here's how it works. When you name a flat key, as long as you know the order of the flats, B to go catch fish, you can figure out the name of the key by going to the last flat and going back one, and that is the name of the key. So for example, in two flats, B and E are the two flats. The second to last flat, or going to the last and going back one, is the B flat, and that's the name of this key. A B flat major scale has two flats, B and E. To show you another example of this, here's four flats. If I go to the last flat, B, E, A, and D, in this case is the last flat, and go back one, that's an A flat. That is the name of the scale, or of the key. A flat major has four flats. B, E, A, and D. There's also a trick to name sharp keys. The way you name a sharp key is you name the last sharp and go up one half step in the chromatic scale. So I'll give you a couple examples of that. Here we have two sharp signs, fat cats, F sharp and C sharp. If I go to the last sharp, which is C sharp, and go up one half step, a half step above C sharp equals D. So that's the name of this scale. D major has two sharps, fat cats, F sharp and C sharp. I'll do another example over here. Here we have four sharps, fat cats go down. The last sharp is D for down, so D sharp is our last sharp. If I then go up a half step from that, a half step above D sharp is E, E natural. So this name of the key is E natural, or E major. Fat cats go down, four sharps is E major. Now let's practice a couple of these. Take a moment and see if you can identify all of the key signatures on this page. I'll give you the answers in a moment, but go ahead and pause. Okay. Let's see if you got them right. Here are the answers. The first one, four sharps, fat cats go down. D sharp is the last sharp, so the rule with the sharps is you go up a half step. So a half step above D sharp equals E, so this is E major. No sharps or flats here, for example 2, that's the key of C, because 0 sharps or flats happen in key of C. Here we have four flats, so remember the trick with the flats is go to the last flat, go back one, and that's the name of the key. B, E, A, D, A flat is the name of the key. A flat major is the third flat, or the second to last flat. Over here we have two flat signs. Last flat is E flat, go back one, that's B flat, so our answer is B flat major. Two sharps, fat cats, C sharp is the last sharp, so we go up a half step, and that would be D major. Let's go down to the second line. Three sharps, fat cats go. G sharp is the last sharp, go up a half step, and we have A. The next one is one flat sign. One flat is the key of F major. After that, we have one sharp sign, that is the key of G major. And lastly, we have 3 flats, which is the key of E flat major. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and make sure that you really take a look at each key signature every time you play a different piece of music, because they are constantly changing, and your eyes should always go to the key signature first so that you know which notes will be sharp or flat for the entire song.